Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Well, students, hope so you're fine, good and healthy. Well, in the previous video, I have discussed about the level of the organization and the subatomic level and the atomic level, as well as we have discussed about the bioelements. Moreover, we have discussed about the 99%, like those six elements which are making the 99% of the body mass. Plus, we have discussed about those elements which is making 1% of the body mass. As well as I have discussed the molecular level and the types of the molecules. Now we are going to discuss about the organelles and the cell level. This is a very interesting and important topic. It is like that, beta. The organelles. What are basically the organelles? The organelles are made up of the biomolecules. When the biomolecules used to assemble themselves in the proper way, then they are going to form the organelle. They are going to form the organelle when the biomolecules are going to assemble in the particular way, then they would form the organelle. I know that you have learned about the organ very well in your previous science subject. What are the organs? Are you able to give the example? Like brain, heart, liver. They are the organ of the body and they are performing the special function, a specific function in the body. Similarly, the organelles are the organelles are basically performing the special function of the cell. The organs are performing the special function of the body and the organelles are performing the special function of the cell. The organ is basically a large and the organelle means a very small. So the organs are basically performing the function of the body of living body. Similarly, the organelles are performing the function of the cell. So these organelles are basically the subcellular structure of a cell. What do you mean by subcellular structure of the cell? The subcellular structure of the cell means that just like subatomic level, if you remember the subatomic level. What is the subatomic level? That is the proton, neutron and electron. Similarly, the subcellular structure means that they are the part of a cell. When these organelles are going to assemble and they are going to perform their specialized function, then they are going to form a cell. It means that the different organelles used to combine with each other and they are making a cell. Now the question is that what is a cell? A cell is the basic unit of the life. We all living organisms are made up of the cell. One cell can divide into two and two cells can divide into four, as well as the cell also used to increase its size. So it means that this is the basic unit of the life. The atoms are not the basic unit of life. The elements are not, the molecules are not, because they cannot reproduce, they cannot divide. If you are going to put the sugar somewhere, after some days, do you think that the sugar is going to increase its number like quantity? No, never, because there is no life of the molecule. The life is basically a cell and that's why it is called the simple unit of the life. Okay student, if you are going to see, then this is basically what? This is a cell. If you're going to discuss this thing, then this is basically a cell and you can see that the cell is made up of many of the organelles. The cell is made up of what? Many of the organelles, like this is mitochondria, this is the centrioles, these are the ribosomes, these are basically the rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, this is Golgi apparatus, as well as this is mitochondria. So you can see that this is vacuole. You can see that the cell is made up of many of the organelles which are assembling themselves into the cell, and these organelles all together are making a cell. So this is a nucleus, it is acting like a brain of a cell. You can see here, it is clear to you, I'm explaining you that the cell is made up of many of the organelles. Let's suppose every organelle, students, you need to understand this thing. Every organelle have their own specific function. They are just like working as a labels, the train of the label. It means that every organelle, this have its own function, the nucleus have its own function, the centrioles have its own function, like every organelle is doing its own job. It is just like that, beta. If you're going to see the school, a school have the different compartment in which there is a specific class and there are a specific teacher for a specific subject. The English teacher is going to teach you English and the Urdu Islamiyat teacher is going to teach you Islamiyat. Similarly, biology, chemistry and physics. That's all. Means that everybody is doing their own job. So similarly, in the organelles of the cells, they are basically doing their own job. Let's take the example of the mitochondria. Basically, this organelle is known as a powerhouse of a cell because this is providing the energy to the cell by a procedure known as a respiration, cellular respiration. That is known as what? Cellular respiration. Basically, what is that, student? The cellular respiration. Do you know the meaning of respiration? You know it very well. That what is the respiration? What is basically respiration? The respiration is to take the oxygen in and to take out the carbon dioxide. So when we used to take the oxygen in, this oxygen helped us to produce the energy from the food. So this mitochondria is doing the same thing. It is providing the energy to the cell. That's why it is known as a cellular respiration. The respiration at the level of a cell is known as cellular respiration. So this mitochondria is providing the energy to the cell. Moreover, beta, if you are going to look at these black dots, basically these black dots, these are the ribosomes. And you can see that these ribosomes have also their some specific function. And what is this? They are basically producing the protein. They used to synthesize the protein. So every organelle is doing their own specific function. That's why they all together they used to assemble themselves and they are making a cell, and this is known as a cell made up of many organelles. Clear to you? Hope so you get it. Now, what is important to discuss? Students, basically, the cell is the unit of the life. That's why it is called, because every organelle is performing a specific function. The prokaryotes. Just take the example of bacteria. I will discuss with you later on that what is a prokaryote. But right now, when I'm taking the name of the prokaryote, keep in your mind a bacteria. And protist, let me to give you the simple example of the protist. That is amoeba. So I hope so that you know about the amoeba very well. So it is like that, but these are the prokaryotes and the protists. They are the organisms who are made up of only single cell. Like bacteria is a living organism. They can reproduce, they can grow, they can dwell. So that's why a cell is known as the unit of the life. Similarly, in that case, the fungi, animals and the plant, they are made up of trillions of the cells. Right? Now students, let's see the next thing, and that is the tissue level. The tissue level, to explain the tissue level, let me tell you, basically beta, the tissues are made up of similar cells. Let's suppose these are the cells, and when these similar cells are going to organize themselves into a specific group, in an organized group, then that will be known as a tissue. When the similar cells are going to arrange themselves in an organized group, as well as all the cells are performing the same function, then that will be known as a tissue. It is just like that, beta, you all are in pre-9 class. You all are of same level. You all are having the same teachers right now. You all are having the same course. So what is that? This is the tissue level. This means that if the similar cells are going to arrange themselves in a group and performing the same function, then that will be known as a tissue. So students, we can define tissue as that a group of the similar cells specialized for performing a specific or the common function. Listen to me, student. It is like that. Let's suppose that these are the cells. Okay, this is the cell. These are the cells. And this cell contains mitochondria, ribosomes and whatever. The Cell will keep performing its function, like mitochondria will produce the energy, the ribosome will keep synthesizing the protein. They all are doing their own work, like organelles will keep doing their own work. But in addition to that, the cells which are arranging together in the group, they are also going to perform a one common function. A one common function, and this common function will make them a tissue. Like let's suppose beta, just take the example of a teachers. Every teacher is taking their food, every teacher is taking the tea, every teacher is taking the, you can say that, taking the rest, every teacher is taking the free period, every teacher is taking the class. But together these all teachers have a one common function, and that is to educate you, right? So similarly, all cells are doing their work, but still they have one common function to perform. Let me to give you the example of endothelium. That is one of the beta. The endothelium is one of the tissue, the name of the tissue, and these tissues are present in the blood vessels. Blood vessels, you know very well, जिसमें से खून गुजरता है, ठीक है? So RBCs used to pass through from these blood vessels. These RBCs, blood cells. These used to pass through from these vessels. Now what is that beta? Every cell is going to do their own job, but in addition, these all cells are elastic. And together these all are making a tissue that is known as the endothelium tissue. So some of the examples which are given here are, just check it out, that the plant tissues are epidermis tissue, grown tissues, animal tissues are nervous tissue, and the muscular tissues. So students, one by one, slowly and gradually, when we are going to done with the biology whole book, then we will come to know about these types, plant tissues, animal tissues, whatever. But in your previous class, you have learned about the nerve, isn't it? You have learned about the nerve cell. Nerve cell. So these nerve cells all together join with each other, organizing themselves into the group, and will form the nerve tissue. To explain you the things more clearly, let me to show you something. So students, the first level of organization is the subatomic particles, and the subatomic particles are basically making the atom. These subatomic particles like proton, neutron, and electron, they are basically most stable subatomic particles. These all together, the atoms all together are making the element. You know very well that one element is made up of same atoms. Like if we have hydrogen element, then all the atoms present in it would be the hydrogen atom. The elements will make the bond with each other, and they will make the molecule. So when the elements are going to join with each other, they are going to make molecule. The molecules will attach with each other by a special natural glue, that is covalent bond or the ionic bond. The different molecules, the biomolecules, are going to arrange themselves in a specific structure, and they are going to make the organelle. The organelle is just like that, a worker, that every worker have to do a specific job. Similarly, the organelles in the cell is basically performing their own specific function. Like mitochondria is actually helping in the production of the energy. These organelles used to assemble themselves into a proper way and are making a cell. A cell is basically smallest unit of the life. It can replicate, it can grow, it can divide, and it is performing the function. When the cells are going to join with each other, the specific cells performing the specific function are organized in the group, then they are going to form a tissue, and the tissues are going to perform their specific function. So students, hope so you get it. Let's discuss some questions. Mostly the question used to come that how the cell is basically acting as a doyen, organelles are acting as a doyen of the label within the cell. So question is that, give the example Yeah, instead of example you can say that explain doing of the label within the cell. So this is whole is the answer, and mostly this question used to come in the board paper. The next one is the tissue level. So the question can come that write a note on the tissue level. ठीक है बेटा, best of luck. Hope so you get each and everything more clearly. If you have any query, do ask me, and in fact the queries will be solved in the class. Best of luck and Allah Hafiz.